on behalf of DPECH working group, the working group on digital preservation and education of cultural heritage, I would want to welcome all of you to the workshop today. And it is our great pleasure to welcome two speakers, Mr. Antio Valentini, Chair of Education Community of Europeana, and Ms. Maria Sorrentino from Italy High School, Bosco Case in Naples. Yeah, so today DPECH is honored to present to you the workshop on Europeana storing and collecting to promote cultural heritage. Yeah, and just a little bit to introduce you about the DPECH working group. Yeah, it is an initiative which was formed with member institution European Grants International Academy, where Antio Valentini is a general director, and Craig Lab, Foligno Party, where Mr. Paulo is a president, and the Human Machine Interaction Laboratory in University of Technology and Engineering Vietnam National University, Hanoi, where Mr. Lê Thanh Hà is the head, and Vietnam Japan University, where I work in, and the Museum of the Cultures of Ethnic Groups in Vietnam. Yeah, so with the DPECH, we are trying to connect people and help to support people with initiative in cultural, in digital cultural heritage. And in July, we have successfully conducted the first seminar on digital cultural preservation and education of cultural heritage, digital preservation and education of cultural heritage. And now we are honored to present the Europeana Workshop with the help of Antio Valentini and Maria Sorrentino. So it is our great pleasure to have you be here and share with us today about the platform and the practices of Europeana in educating cultural heritage in digital platform. And now I would want to invite Antio Valentini and Maria Sorrentino to start with their presentation. Yeah, welcome, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanle. Thank you very much. And thanks again to the University of Hanoi for coordinating the preparation of this workshop and the promotion, which is, as you said, our second initiative, and hopefully some others will follow in the next months. We are very honored. I speak also on behalf of course, Europeana, but also the Crack Lab. Paolo Russo cannot join us today, but we're really looking forward to fruitful cooperation in projects, initiatives in the coming months. Today, the focus, let me share my screen first. I hope you can see. Here it is. So today, the focus of the workshop, as Tanle described, is on Europeana platform, especially how to use Europeana for education. I'm chairing the committee of the education network in Europeana for 2 years now, and there are many. We would need 2 days workshop to go through all the possibilities that Europeana offer in detail. But today, before giving the speech to Maria Sorrentino, who is one of our closest cooperators in the field of school education, I want to show you, I want to speak about the platform itself and not the other possibilities given to the teachers and all those who are active in the field of cultural heritage education. So this guide, of course, will be made available through our channels. And as I said, given the wide scope of the material hosted by the Europeana platform, this guide can be useful, of course, for educators, but also for all those who are somehow involved in the promotion of cultural heritage in formal and non-formal context. After this presentation, I hope that you will be somehow more informed, of course, about the platform, but also you will better understand how to search for material and what are the possibilities and the limits, of course, to use the material, the cultural heritage collections hosted by the platform. Here you can already see the main email address that you can write to if you have any problem while navigating or using the platform. So we will, during the presentation, we will just introduce again Europeana. We already did it in last July, but just to remind the present audience about the scope of Europeana, we will see what are the key terms to be taken into consideration while searching through the platform. And in particular, I will try to explain how to use how to look for reusable content and how to credit this content whenever you are using it in your activities, educational activities. What is Europeana? Europeana is the main archive for cultural heritage in Europe, is hosting all the collections, single masterpieces coming from European museums and archives. It is still limited to Europe context, but it can represent, for the scope of our DPECH network, a good example in order to replicate this initiative also in the comparison between Asia and Europe in the field of cultural heritage. At the moment, the platform is hosting more than 50 million of items, not only speaking about images, but more and more other type of media are becoming very important in the platform. I would say that at the moment there is a particular attention to videos and animated cultural heritage material. These collections are increasing every month, and there are many different organizations interested to include their available material in the platform. Among these 50 million, 20 million of items are more or less suitable for use in education, which means that are free of license, can be reused and transformed for educational purposes, of course, giving a specific reference to the platform. And what is also important is that Europeana staff is always working at creating curated exhibitions and themed collections. So, of course, one way to explore the platform is by searching for specific items, but another useful way is to navigate the platform as if it was a museum. So going through galleries, checking the last exhibitions, and in this way you will easily get to the items concerning the topics you are more interested of. Again, and finally, also the presence of different items in different languages. So at the moment, the overall content are available in 22 languages, while exhibitions, every time there is an exhibition, this is translated in 12 languages. Here you will find links also to more detailed manuals for searching and downloading contents. This mine is just an introduction. And also the APIs that have been developed. Now I think we reached even 6 different APIs that can be integrated into educational softwares as well. What are the key terms? I'm not going to read them all, but just to let you focus on what we care about at Europeana. Of course, copyright. This is a very important issue. We are working in Europe towards different understanding and expression of copywriting. Now there is a movement and a group of people within Europeana, within the community on copyright, thinking about grassroots copywriting, community copywriting, something that goes into a different direction rather than limiting the use of cultural heritage. We would like to reinterpret the meaning of copyright in order to make it more accessible to different target groups and to everyone. Then, of course, institutions. Every time you find something in Europeana, this item is connected and related to a specific institution. So for us, it's very important that in reusing this material, the educators will inform the students, the learners, or the final target group, not only on Europeana source, but also on the original source of this item, because it's just thanks to the museums and the archives and the institutions that have provided us with these cultural heritage items that we can exist. And then the difference from free to reuse and reuse. So this must be taken into consideration when you search for any item, because there are, as I said, 20 million of items that can be freely used and reused, even for commercial and non-commercial purposes. But everything must be checked with the Creative Commons license with which the item has been labeled. So this is very important. To study the code of Creative Commons will be very useful if you want to then be sure that you are using the material in the correct way. And finally, reuse. We really appreciate those, when it is possible, those projects, those educational projects that aim to reuse our content in new ways, because this is the best way to really exploit and also safeguard, let's say, the existing of cultural heritage, not just showing as it is, but also creating new understanding, new stories, new usage of cultural heritage. It's the perfect way to keep it lasting forever. How to search? Well, the homepage that you see here on this slide is our previous version, which is still accessible, but definitely the new one, it's easy to compare. There is a search bar where you can really write anything and browse for keywords. And you will see that the platform will provide you with the overall collection of items that include this word either as a tag term, or if this term is included in the description of the item. Then this second slide, it's very important if you don't want to get lost. Some of our teachers in Europe, usually the most common question is, how can I find this specific content, the result that the platform gives me is too wide. So here in this slide, you have a very important search tips that you can use for different reasons. One, it's probably the most common, using quotations marks for really getting to the exact multiple word searches, which refines a lot the search. But there are also some other tips that are available in the platform where, for example, if you want to limit the provenience, the origin of the item, or maybe the period when this has been produced, and many other multiple conditions for searching. Of course, those who are familiar with programming may recognize them easily. For humanists like myself, this could take some longer to get used to this terminology, but once you master it, it's very convenient. What are the search terms? As I said, once you launch a search on the platform, you usually receive a lot of inputs and a lot of results. So that's why the platform is offering a lot of filtering opportunities to refine your search. The one I prefer is collections, because collections allows you to search items based on key terms, so on key categories. And I would say that whenever I've used the platform for looking for a specific content, for example, the Second World War, I was looking for letters of soldiers from the Second World War. I started writing letter of soldiers and I received many results. But then I discovered there was a collection on Second World War where the letters were connected also to famous paintings or other material included, mentioned in the letters of the people. So I just navigating, surfing the collection, I actually discovered material which I was not aware of. So collection is my favorite filter. Then of course you can go towards other more technical filtering like media. If you want to isolate sound material, video material, this is quite easy. And of course, you will probably want to filter the general results on the possibility to use it, because with can I use it, you can definitely isolate all the available material on the specific topics that you are looking for. And of course, this is our self-explaining, the country, the language, and the institution. You may want to have, I don't know, items from a specific museum. You can filter these through the institution filtering possibility. How to find reusable content? It's very easy. This is very easy, and it's written in a very clear way in the main description of the item that you are watching and selecting. And as I said, can I use it is the main element that you have to look for. Here it's clear, for example, for this picture, that it's free for reuse and it's public domain marked. So you can really use this picture without any licensing problem. What is important, though, is to be aware about the, here it is, sorry, about the different Creative Commons, as I said. Public domain, it's the widest possibility, but there are also some other features of Creative Commons that must be known in order to be aware if you can use or not this specific item. Here, the most important, BI requires you to credit the work. So by, it's easy. It means that some credit must be given. With share alike, it means that you have to share your own work under identical terms. So you cannot modify the item that you are downloading, but you can share it. Must be shared in the same way you download it from the platform. Non-commercial, here it's clear, but for us it's quite simple because we are interested in educational purposes. So again, the item can be used, but for just educational initiatives, and no derivatives. So you cannot change the item in any way. It doesn't mean it's a little bit different from share alike, and it really refers to the possibility to add content or connect the item to other material. In this case, if you find ND, you cannot do this. You must present the item as it is presented in the platform. On Europeana, you can also find a detailed explanation of all these rights statement and even others. But here, again, a screenshot on the functionalities on copyright. Again, can I use? You can see from our research that there are a lot of free reuse items. In this specific search, for example, you can see that more than 50% of the items searched can be either reused or reused in a limited way. So this is the most important filter to take into consideration. Finally, we really invite you to always credit the content that you use. Using for free doesn't mean that you are the owner of this content. So crediting the Europeana platform, and as I said, the original institution who provided the content, is a way to really establish a respectful and fruitful community worldwide of organization working in the field of preservation of cultural heritage. In the next page, there are examples of how to credit Europeana record, but here also a basic checklist on what to include in a credit signature of the item. Of course, the title, name of the creator, date of creation, name of the institution, the rights statement, and of course, a link to the object in Europeana. So everyone who is using this specific item during your educational initiative will be given also the opportunity to go back to the Europeana platform and start his or her own search. Here, some example, as I said, just for your reference. And where to find this information, it's very easy because in Europeana, you find it directly on the page of the item that you are working with, but you can also download the full statement for crediting this item. So it is a facilitated process, so you are sure that you are not missing out any relevant information. Finally, and we are running out of time, so just to speed up, APIs, Application Programming Interface. What are they? They are web services which allow you to search, retrieve, and display relevant Europeana content in external online environments. What does it mean? That if you have your program, your platform, your software, and you want to give the users the opportunity to use Europeana platform and items, you can also integrate this directly into your software using the APIs. Of course, some programming expertise is required, but I would say that at least these 4 APIs that I know, as I said, there are 2 more in the platform, are very friendly and easy to install in any program. A lot of manuals are provided, and also examples that give you an idea of how the API can be used to improve or enrich your educational program. For those who are in the programming sector, also Europeana is very much interested to receive suggestions for additional APIs. For example, if you don't find what you need here, but you may need something more specific or detailed for your program, then Europeana may be interested to develop or to finance the development of this API in partnership with your organization. So this is an invitation to be active and explore what is available already in the platform. Then let's stay in touch. This is the end of my presentation. Here you will find all the channels that you can use to get in contact, especially related to the educational community. And I really hope that you will find these guidelines useful for your future projects. And I'm really glad then to give the word to Maria Sorrentino, who will give you a concrete example of what you can do by using the Europeana education platform. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Antio. And we've got to know a lot more about Europeana. And now it is our honor to have Ms. Maria Sorrentino to share more about the practices of using Europeana for education. Please, Ms. Maria Sorrentino.
Thanks. Hello, everybody. Thanks, Alteo. Thanks. And now okay. Do you see?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. I am Maria Sorrentino. I am a teacher in math and science. In this day, I tell you a good practice using Europeana in my school, Bosco Tre Case, near Naples, an egg school. My students are 12, 13 years old, and activities goals, excuse me, to stimulate and to engage students in STEM subject, both gender equality in the STEM studies, to reinforce the concept of copyright and privacy, as Alteo said. We started by the Goals Agenda 2030, but we focused on two goals. 5. Gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. And 4 goals. Quality education. Receiving quality education is the foundation to improving people's lives and sustainable development. The structure. Six phases. Phase 1, activity introduction. Phase 2, motivating the choice of a historical scientific figure. Phase 3, research in Europeana of Maria Sibylla Merian, collection, and life and works. Phase 4, analysis of images and resource in Europeana, plants, animals, text. This activity in 30 minutes. Phase 5, reworking and production, presentation, 2 hours. Phase 6, evaluation, 1 hour. Introduction activity. Women in science. And il context, the figure of the woman in historical, scientific, and technological context in the world. Research and written text and publication by women. Use the writing and graphic representation before photography. Importance of the descriptive text in the scientific field. And now, Europeana platform. Analysis for a correct use. One moment. Okay. Okay, pioneers. And Maria Sibylla Merians in Europeana. Pioneers is a special exhibition on 8 extraordinary European women who have distinguished themselves in the arts, science, and society. Le donne pioniere in my school for STEM, for gender equality. We have chosen Maria Sibylla Merian. In this page, we have life, her family, her studies, her husband, and her works. This is for my students very beautiful as a photo. Uno screenshot, una foto is invece is a art of Marian. This is exceptional. Animals, flower, the color is very incredible. This is for ecology, for botanic, and this is the text in field scientific. Okay. We research in Explorer and choose Maria Sibylle Merian and her art. Motivated shows of the historical scientific figure, phase 2. This is the link. And consideration of the historical context, scientific character. The private life of the woman, and then of the scientist. Plants and scientific observation. Comparison between the present context and that of the chosen character. Similarities and difference. Very important for me as a teacher, but as a woman. The female condition, analogy and difference in 21 secolo and XVI secolo. Phase 3, Research in Europeana. Students group work. Research on platform Europeana, all research for scientific Marian, Sibylla Marian. Another research for historical character. Very important for me, phase 4, analysis of images and the source in Europeana. Analysis of source of copyright, privacy, a research in other relative copyright, comparison with Europeana. The observation and realization of drawings rich in detail. Text analysis. Can use it, free reuse, limited reuse, no reuse, and this shows public domain, limited reuse, and no reuse. My students see with me Creative Commons, use a remix, search for content to reuse, a Creative Commons option. This is important for the production presentation, phase 5, Students in small groups design and produce an audio, video, multimedia to be used to promote to peer-to-peer and shows images for common lenses is very important. Phase 6. Evaluation. Pupils will be evaluated with a peer-to-peer. Groups are invited to evaluate and then to choose the best work representative of the class work to be disclosed in events. When they show the finished and delivered works to other students in the class, students will be evaluated by their peers. The evaluation will happen on the basis of the previous shared criteria. The presentation performance will then be assessed. After the implementation, I started a discussion to get immediate feedback and identify the strengths and the critical points of the activity. I evaluated the students' group work, roles, times, respected deliveries, and collaboration between the members of the group, and the effectiveness of the message highlighted in the final report. In addition, students' performance was also assessed during presentation events, among students, and between students and parents. Thanks for all, and thanks for Alteo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Maria. And we can see that it is very interesting that educators in Europe can take advantage of Europeana's material to conduct their classes in high school. Yeah, and we really wish that we have similar database so that we can use it in our teaching activities. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah.
May I ask, Maria, if you can share next days also some of the works done by the students, the final works? Is it possible to see the final result?
The presentation,
Yes.
and now,
No,
no.
even no, no now.
Oh,
If you can send it to me, I will share with the network.
oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye bye. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Antio, to introduce about the platform of Europeana, and Maria about the practices of educators. And now we would want to invite people in the room to share questions or comments to our guests. Yeah, if you have questions, you can just use the microphone, or you can type in the chat box. Yeah, maybe while we are waiting for questions, may I ask Antio, how could you invite the institutions to share the data to Europeana? Do you have any policy to promote them to share with you? As in Vietnam, we have many different institutions, libraries, museums, or research institute as well. but people do not feel that they would share to a common database. It seems that people try to protect for themselves, and they are afraid of the license copyright issues. So it is very hard for like educators like me to access different databases of separate institutions. So how Europeana motivated them to contribute to your database? Thank you.
Yeah, this is a big issue actually, also in Europe. I would say that well, here I have two answers. The first one is that unfortunately I have tried to push internally for creating what we call aggregators. In Europeana, we have groups of people interested on a specific topic that work together and aggregate material from different institutions in order to then upload them to the platform. And I asked the permission to have an aggregator with Southeast Asian organizations to upload a collection on the platform. Unfortunately, this is not possible yet due to the policy of the European Commission that finances the Europeana platform for the European collections. What would be possible at this level could be to create an aggregator of Southeast Asian works in European museums, to have a specific collections of masterpieces and items that are hosted in Europe but relates to the Asian collections. So this in this way we could somehow initiate a first collection that then can be used also by anyone in the world. To answer your question on motivation, I think that two different aspects are very important here. The first one is implementing at a wide level, wide scope, awareness raising campaigns about Creative Commons, because Creative Commons is really the way to share cultural heritage, making sure that copyright is respected, but it is also enlarged to a wider audience. So those organizations that are now worried to lose the ownership of their collections with Creative Commons can really, make sure to keep it, to safeguard it, but at the same time make their collections available. If you think about it, why should they keep such a treasure hidden in archives when there is the possibility to really share it with everyone, having at the same time the assurance that everyone recognizes that this is a collection held by my institution. And the second aspect, I would say, and maybe here the DPECH network can play an important role. I would say that training opportunities and initiatives where cultural heritage is promoted as a vehicle for social improvement, social cohesion, and also enrichment of educational programs for schools, not only in the field of humanities, but as you saw from Maria example, also in the field of sciences. So multidisciplinarity and for exploiting cultural heritage could be a good option to convince museums and other cultural institutions to release at least part of their collections. You can, in this way, you can really see the impact that their material, their items could achieve with younger generations for a better and more, let's say, informed and aware future.
Thank you very much for sharing the experience from there. And I think that such archive, such a database, yeah, should be made for many places in the world. Any country needs such one, any area, and the whole world need such big database, big web for people to enjoy the culture in the digital platform. Yeah, and I just want to add one question to Maria. Do you have supports different ways of community for educators in Europeana? Do you just act it alone, or you have communities to share practices of educators who use Europeana for education?
Yes, I am in the community, and I share the Europeana platform with my colleague and another teacher in Italy for use in story, in literature, in arts, and in science. It's very important for interdisciplinary culture for the young students and for students of high school.
Yeah, thank you very much. And hopefully Europeana have the platforms for you to share the teaching scenarios, yeah, or the festival for educators. Yeah, and we would learn from it. Yeah,
Yeah, there is a blog post, a blog site that is called Teaching with Europeana, where you can find all the learning scenarios produced by all teachers who want to share their experiences, as Maria did. If you go there, maybe I can, let me just share the link. Teaching.
Alteo ho il file disponibile al volo.
Ah, ok. Lo vuoi mostrare?
Sì, un attimo.
Okay, then Maria will show one of the results of the students.
that's great. Thanks.
Perfect. This is the learning scenario that I was telling about. Usually it's also, this is in Italian, but you find it also in many different languages. And this is exactly the experience that Maria presented about Maria Sibilla Merian. You see the title, the author is the teacher here. So the credit is given also to the teacher. Abstract of the initiative, and all the technical requirements that you need to follow in order to either replicate this activity with your students or maybe adapt it to your needs. So they are really technical documents used for educational purposes. Thanks.
Wow, that is great. Thank you. So with the website, you can view your teaching scenario on Europeana and just share it for people to reuse.
Exactly. I'm including here the link to the website that I will quickly show.
Yeah.
So this is the website, Teaching with Europeana. And here you have all the learning scenarios produced by the community of teachers in Europe, and not only in Europe, even from other countries. You can select by topic, by language, and many other filters.
Yeah.
Alteo?
Actually,
Yes.
there are two screen sharing. Yeah.
There are two screens.
So maybe Mario
okay.
Maria can stop sharing from there. Yeah, please. Thank you.
Alteo, scusa, la modifica di oggi prevede gli obiettivi dell'Agenda 2030 per educazione civica rispetto a quella che io ho condiviso,
Okay, so Maria is underlying that in the learning scenario she has produced, there is an additional topic which is using sustainable development goals for civic education, which is another topic that may be interesting for schools. Here you can see the website I was referring to with all the learning scenarios, some stories of implementation where you have testimonials from teachers that explain how they have used the different material from the platform, and the competitions, because there are also every year there is a competition for teachers. This year, for example, the competition was on promo tools, how to use material from the Europeana education in social media. This is also maybe interesting to let the students be engaged in educational activities. And finally, the best practices updated every year with a manual that you can download and in different European languages.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I shared the link of my activity in the Europeana, my learning scenarios.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing the practices and the tools for teacher. As what I know, you have also Historiana or something as well for teaching history with Europeana. Yeah.
There
And
is
thank you.
Historiana, there are the transcribathons that may be interesting. Transcribathons are initiatives for students who go to archives and transcribe digitally the letters, documents that are kept by the archives, and they also rework them in creative ways. For example, there could be a diary from someone who was living out far from his country, and a student transformed the diary in the digital version by adding pictures, multimedia, videos. So the final goal from our community is really exploit what is available from our cultural heritage with younger generations in order to create a sense of ownership from themselves, because sometimes usually cultural heritage is for younger generations something that attains to the past, and if it is related to the past, there is not a willingness to be connected, because they don't feel as the cultural heritage belongs to them. If you let them rework cultural heritage and put their meanings, their understanding of that specific cultural heritage, first you ensure a transfer of values that is very important in our society, but you also make them protagonists of living and exploring cultural heritage, and in a way we ensure that next generations will put the same attention we want to keep on safeguarding our heritage.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. We want to hear more about many of your initiatives. Yeah, and actually we are a little bit behind the time, but if you can spend time for 1 or 2 questions, I would want to ask more questions from our audience for a little while.
Hello.
Yeah,
Can you hear
please.
me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing the work in Europeana to us. And one of my questions I want to ask is, Lu has already asked before, so we will learn a lot about that. And we wish that in Vietnam we also have that kind of system for the education for younger who can understand more about our heritage, not only in Vietnam but also in Southeast Asia and about the world, and also in Europe. Yeah. And during the talk, I just wondering something. One in the talk, in what can I use in the day in the slide? You have sharing to us your those rights statement. So what I want to say is that how can you build this kind of right? Do you have any connection or any link with the European intellectual property regulation about that?
Well, if I understood well your questions, yes, let's say that all the material shared through the platform is following the European regulation for protection of both privacy and copyright. And in the manual, if you remember in my slide, there is a link to a manual for search and reuse material through the platform. This manual is a publication that gives you many details on linkage to actual regulations and all the practices that can be implemented through the platform. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
So what if the user don't follow that?
What happens if users don't follow? May be persecuted by legal actions, actually. Most of the times, occasions where these rules are not respected are highlighted by the owners of the item that has been violated. Let's say that the normal practice is to first ask for revising the way the item has been shared, or adding statements that make clear that this item relates to a specific organization. And if the user who have not respected the correct procedure don't perform this indication, then there could be also possibility for legal action.
Yes. So in Vietnam, we have a very, very different cultural and situation. In here, in Vietnam, almost people think that the data can be shared freely, and whenever we give it out, we never get it back. That is
Really?
problem in here. Yeah. So almost all people, it's like you say before, they said that they don't believe that the data, whenever they set out, and they cannot control it, and they don't believe that people will respect the rights.
I understand.
Yeah, that is one problem in Vietnam. And one another question is that I have seen in your in your talk that your archive is a lot more than 50 million data items, right? So
Yeah.
by this time, so how many school or educational institution using that?
The educational community have more than 3,000 participants at the moment. Not all of them are from schools. As I was saying, there are a lot of educators from museums and professionals working in education, but it's a very wide community. We overcame 3,000 members of the network last year.
So after they use your archive, then they can make some of their work. Can they bring it back to the archive?
Yes, not directly to the archive. So the archive is a place for sharing the original items. But as you saw, there is, for example, the teaching with the Europeana blog post, where all the reworked material is shared and highlighted for as a best practice, as a good practice. This is one of the channels, but there is also another website which is called Europeana Pro, where you can find academic articles and more detailed studies on how the material has been used for projects and initiatives. So, for example, there you find works also in the field of 3D images and sound archives that have been reused to create new cultural heritage. Because at the end, the idea is that whenever someone use cultural heritage to create something new, this is cultural heritage itself, because it's a new understanding of the image, the sound, the video that have been used.
So one of the last questions is that in Europe, do you have any kind of regulation that push or motivate the museum, the state museum, to share some ration of their archive to public?
I wouldn't speak about regulation. I would say that we in our community, and we have a board of experts. At the moment, we are 7, and we have annual action plans where we try to set up priorities in order to engage both educational institutions and cultural institutions in cooperating for increasing the number of shared material. Europeana is a very complex structure. It's very big, and there are many communities. At the moment, there are 8 operating communities. Education is one of these, but then there is research, which is very important, technological development, copyright, environmental issues, and they all have these specific action plans, all of them focused on exploiting the platform as much as possible, and all of them implementing annual activities and initiatives to increase the awareness of cultural organizations.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you both. Yeah,
You're
thank
welcome.
you, Mariana. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. And if other audience from other countries, yeah, if you have specific questions to Antio or Maria, please.
If any question will come even later,
Yeah.
we will be glad to support and answer through the Basecamp group or the mail list. So please do not hesitate to send us direct emails and messages.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah, we've ran out of time. And yeah, thank you very much for our two honored speakers to help us understand more about Europeana. And I think it provides a huge resource, yeah, for us to explore, yeah, for more in the future. And I'm sure that the DPECH working group will continue to work with Europeana to learn more from you, and also to have more initiative to learn and share about Europeana practices in digital cultural heritage. And at this workshop, we would want to invite people to join the Basecamp by Egina and DPECH. And with the Basecamp, we can continue with more ideas, initiatives, and sharing. And you can also join the DPECH working group to receive news about upcoming activities as well. So after this workshop, I will send you the invitation to the Basecamp, yeah, by Egina and DPECH. So we would want to conclude the workshop today, and thank you very much, Antio and Maria, for sharing with us and inspire us to create more like your open database, and also to use such database in our education activities. And thank you very much, everyone, for attending the workshop, and hope that we will have more chances like this to meet and talk together.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Goodbye.
you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And
Yeah, see you again.
Maria, thank you, everyone.